Remember the 70s? Not the photos, not the documentaries. I mean, do you remember the nights? Because sometimes it feels like a lifetime ago, and sometimes it feels like yesterday. Like if you stepped outside right now, the air might still smell the same. People talk about how hard it was back then. And yeah, it was gritty. Cities were worn down, paint peeling, streetlights flickering like they were tired too. Everything felt unstable, like it could fall apart any minute. But that chaos, that was our playground. That's where we learned how to live, how to survive. And not just survive, how to thrive right in the middle of it all. We didn't have much, but we had each other, and that made us tough as nails. Add that to the list. I remember the first thing the city taught us. How to read the streets. You didn't need a map. You didn't need directions. You learned by walking, by watching, by listening. You knew which blocks felt right, which ones didn't. You felt it in your gut. That was one of them. I remember how everything changed after sunset. During the day, the city looked exhausted. But at night, it woke up. Neon signs buzzing, storefronts glowing, people spilling out onto sidewalks like the night pulled them outside. Same streets, different rules. That was another one. I remember the sound before anything else. Music everywhere. Not clean, not perfect. Just loud enough to spill out of windows. Just strong enough to shake car doors as they passed. Funk from one block. Soul from another. Disco creeping in. Punk screaming from basements. Hip-hop starting to breathe under everything. You didn't choose the soundtrack. It found you. Add that to the list. I remember walking past apartment buildings and hearing whole lives through open windows. Someone arguing, someone laughing, someone singing along to the radio like nobody could hear them. That intimacy, that counted. I remember the walls, graffiti everywhere, names, symbols, stories sprayed in bold colors. People call it vandalism now. Back then, that was someone saying, I exist. The city wasn't pretty, so we made it expressive. Every subway ride felt like an art gallery that moved. Every wall told you who lived there. I didn't know it then, but that counted too. I remember how sirens became background noise. At first, they scared you. Then they didn't. They just blended into the night. Like traffic. Like music. That's one more. I remember learning how to move through crowds. Not pushing. Not rushing. Just flowing. Head up. Eyes open. Always aware. That lesson stayed with us. I remember the smell of the city at night. Hot asphalt. Garbage bags. Food carts. Cigarette smoke. It wasn't pleasant, but it was familiar. Add that to the list. I remember when jobs were hard to find, especially for kids like us. So we made our own. Shoe shines on corners, washing windshields at red lights, selling records, selling food, selling confidence. It wasn't about getting rich. It was about independence, having something in your pocket, something you earned. We learned how to talk to strangers, how to read faces, how to know when to push and when to walk away. Looking back, that was a big one. I remember learning that respect wasn't given. It was earned by how you carried yourself, by how you showed up. Add that to the list. I remember nights when nothing happened, and that still meant something. Just sitting on steps, talking, listening to distant music, Sometimes doing nothing together mattered more than doing anything. That counted. And then there were the block parties. Those nights changed everything. Someone would just say, "Tonight," and suddenly the whole block moved. Speakers dragged outside. Extension cords snaking out of windows. Turntables stacked like treasure. Fire hydrants opened. Johnny pumps. Kids screaming. Water everywhere. Laughter bouncing off buildings. Barbecue smoke hanging in the air. Paper plates. Cheap drinks. Pure magic. That wasn't just fun. Add 3 or 4 right there. I remember the old folks on the stoops, pretending not to care, tapping their feet anyway. I remember DJs becoming legends overnight, needles dropping at just the right moment. They weren't just playing music, they were controlling the mood of the entire street. I remember dance circles forming without rules, battles breaking out, people cheering like it was the biggest stage in the world. That joy, that counted too. Those parties weren't accidents. They were survival. They reminded us we belonged to something, that we weren't alone in the mess. Different backgrounds, different stories. Same beat, same street. Add that to the list. I remember realizing the city wasn't our enemy. It was our teacher. Every night left a lesson. Every mistake taught something. You could count 30 easily if you really sat with it. We didn't call it resilience. We didn't call it community. We just called it life. People say the 70 seconds were rough. They were. But we didn't just survive those city nights. We learned inside them. We grew inside them. We thrived in ways you can't fake. And if you've been counting along in your head, you already know why it's 30. Those nights weren't just moments. They built us. And honestly, I wouldn't trade those memories for anything. If this feels familiar, if these nights feel like yours too, stick around. I've got a lot more things left to remember.